This presentation is about the Industrial Revolution. We will explain to you in details about the background of the Industrial Revolution, the bourgeoisies, the proletariats, and finally, women and child labor. The Industrial Revolution was in a period of developments where it changed many societies into industrialized urban societies. It began at the end of the 18th century and the early 19th century. The Industrial Revolution is related to sociology because it have improved social economy and technologies. It also changed manual labor into machines. What I mean by that is factories started using machines instead of laborers.
After listening to the introduction, let us have a time travel back to that period. Welcome to the Britain in 19th century. Before our visit starts, I would like to explain some background information about Industrial Revolution. There are many reasons caused the Industrial Revolution, but now I'm going to focus mainly on 3 of them. Firstly, the capitalism, which particularly referred to the laissez-faire capitalism in this case. As the capitalism emphasized the free market in trade, it helped the accumulation. This created the possibility that wealthy individuals invested to build up factories and mines, which was exactly what the industrialization needed. Secondly, the imperialism played an important role too. It contributed to the formation of the global market as well as the triangle trade, which was the cycle among goods, slaves, and raw materials. All of these underpinned a larger scale of goods production and expanded the industrialization. Moreover, the agricultural revolution happened in 18th century also affected the Industrial Revolution in terms of workforce and market. New farming techniques and the usage of farming machines increased the amount of food production, which contributed to larger population. Besides, the progress enabled less people to do the same quantity work as before, so the demand of people doing farm work decreased. Meanwhile, the inclusion movement, one of the side products of agricultural revolution, forced more people to move to cities so that they could find jobs. All of these had a contribution to meet the request of workforce. Similarly, they were also very helpful to establish larger market. In conclusion, the capitalism, imperialism, and the agricultural revolution, these are basically 3 main reasons causing the Industrial Revolution. Okay, I think that's enough for the background. In order to get more details about Industrial Revolution and people's life during that time, let's visit one of the factories and interview some people there. Hi, sir. May I ask you some questions?
My time is priceless. What are you going to ask?
Just some simple questions about your life.
Alright. Please be quick.
Yeah, could you please describe your life briefly?
Quite boring actually, just some daily routine like earning money, drinking tea and coffee with my business friends, chatting with the suppliers all from all over the world.
I see. And what about...
Oh, it's late afternoon. I have to go to the party with my friends. Time to say goodbye now.
Okay, thank you for your answers anyway. Bye. Fine. To know something more about the bourgeoisie at that time, next we will have Jeline to explain their life and features.
Okay, now here's a session to introduce bourgeoisie. I'm going to talk about the majority of them. So let's focus on the factory owners, businessmen who own the power and money, and the capitalist. So what kinds of life were they spending on? Did they work as workers? Definitely not. They earned the money by selling products made by workers and used the money to support their daily routine. They lived a refined and dedicated life, and they hired people to do everything they wanted. But how did they affect the entire society? First of all, they expand marketing towards other nations. In other words, international trade. It is not only a commercial link between countries, it also led to cultural globalization, which developed a multicultural society. This literally expanded their horizons, and people perceived extremely different views of the world. Due to the less demand for farmers, more and more people assembled in the urban areas. Farmers needed workers to control, and the ex-farmers needed incomes to sustain their life. Therefore, the bourgeoisie supplied jobs for the workers, and the workers, or the proletariat, demand wages to support their families. As a result, urban areas assembled more and more people, which led to urbanization. And what are the new and the old mean? What changed before and after the revolution? Before the Industrial Revolution, people handmade all the goods and followed with the discipline of the handicraft industry. They also stuck with traditional values and believed in God and supernatural stuff. However, this revolution led people to a new level of understanding of the world. Ideologies stood up, Marxism spread widely, even physics and biology improved under a qualitative leap. The Industrial Revolution was literally one of the greatest progress made by human society. People invented different types of machines which were powered by steam, water, and coal. These machines replaced the handicraft industry to a new age that led by industrialization. But how did bourgeoisie treat the money? What are their attitude towards money? It is pretty direct. Let's look at this picture here. It used metaphor to illustrate how bourgeoisie treated the working class. They literally squeezed them to work. Male, female, even the children were forced to work during that time. For them, the bourgeoisie, the only thing they cared about was profit. How much would they earn? How to earn more money? The health conditions of the working class won't be a problem to them. Money is the only thing and everything mattered. The more, the better. The relationship between peoples were more likely to rely on the money and interest and what advantage they can get from each other. Anyhow, the Industrial Revolution affected economic life heavily. It's showed by the significant improvement of the quality of life, or you can say the living standard. Therefore, due to the huge increase of social productivity, Britain became the top industrial empire in the world at that time.
Thanks, Jolene. I think it makes things clear. Oh, here comes another gentleman. Let's have a chat with him. Hi, how are you? Would you mind taking a short interview? It will just take a little time.
Sorry. I am afraid that I can't. I just finished my 14-hour work at the mine nearby. It was really tiring. The only thing I want to do today is to have a good sleep.
Alright, are you okay?
Not really. Actually, I'm not feeling well right now. I have no money to see a doctor and no time as I have work to do so I can raise my family. Oh, I really need to leave right now.
Okay, bye.
I really need to have a rest.
Okay, bye. That's a sad story. Now Sultan is going to tell more details about the proletariat during that time.
Proletariats are known as laborers. They are people who earn low wages by working for longer hours under someone's orders or commands. They are in the lowest social class, which is called proletarians. Proletariats have suffered a lot during the Industrial Revolution because factories started using machines instead of laborers. That means proletariats did not have money nor the ability to get their daily needs for them and their families. During the Industrial Revolution, proletariats had no rights and they were treated badly as they were from the lowest social class, which is proletarians.
Thank you, Sultan. Next, we will visit some special groups of people, the women and children working here.
Excuse me, could I ask you some question about...
Sorry, darling, I don't think I have time to answer any question because my husband will back from home in an hour. I have to cook and clean the house before he comes back, and my children are still waiting at home.
What a pity, but I thought you just finished your work for a long time.
Yes, I did, but ending jobs means ending a whole day is only for men, but for women, it's just a beginning for doing housework or taking care of children. Well, that's a life, and so unfair.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Bye.
Hello, sweetheart. Would you like to accept our quick interview about your life here?
I'm not sure. My work is going to start in 10 minutes. If I'm late, my boss will lash me.
Really? That's so cruel. But it is 6:30 p.m. now. You are going to work at this time?
Yes, I have to. My parents need money.
Laura, time to go.
Sorry, I have to go. Bye.
Bye and good luck. Okay, why they are so busy? Maybe we can have our answers after Annie's introduction about your life at that time.
So let's discuss women and children, which are the marginalized groups at that time. In Chen's workplace, a concept called 996 has become popular recently, starting work at 9 a.m. and ending at 9 p.m., following this timetable to work for 6 days in a week. Do you think it's a good idea? Actually, no matter how bad it could be, it's better than this timetable. Just look at it belongs to 23-year-old Elizabeth Bentley. Speaking frankly, working for half a day is already awful. However, what are the worst and most dirty workplaces you could imagine? The workplace where they work could be worse than the worst you could picture. Firstly, no window and proper ventilation, workers came out and extremely heat. How long could you stay at home in summer if you don't turn on the air conditioner? At least for me, not exceeding for half a day. Secondly, dangerous. Any loose-fitting clothing could easily become clogged and pull the worker violently into the working of the machine. Finally, no respects. In some cases, women could work in the pits with men who were often naked or close to being naked, which often gave a way for sex within the workplace. It happened without any agreement for women. They work and they still have to please men. What a heavy topic. Just move on to the lunchtime. It looks great that they had lunchtime for 40 minutes. The basic food they have is oat cake, pie, bread, and etc. Honestly, the kind of food provided in the factory could be called diversity, but in fact, factory workers spend 36% of their income on bread, and the food is what we eat today. But let's find the truth. The food may be made only by the basic ingredients and are full of dyes. I don't want to eat it. Even when the family came back to home, they still had to do housework, taking care of children and something like that. Just look at the nativity. With increasing requirement for labor force, more children were born in the family. On average, each family has 5 children. How big could it be? Obviously, women are suffering a double burden and unequal in all fields, but because they got paid, although their payment was lower than men, being the beginning of economic independence, which provides the right to manage their own affairs. So they were working. On the other hand, working means spending less time in the family, which changes the role they had before. The only role belongs to the family as a wife and a mother. As a result of them, the first feminist movements emerged out of the time period and sought equality, especially in terms of voting rights. So women have to take care of children, but when it comes to childhood, what kind of thing could you think about? Toy, happy, pill? But in the 2 centuries ago, childhood only means endless working, abusement, and starving. The workplace still terrible, hot, and dirty, but worse. If women got poor payment, sometimes children worked with painful and even life for free. Looking at the interview, a child is easier to being punished because they couldn't fight against the owner, and as they were little, they had to stand higher to operate the machine, which increased the risk for dice. This boy lost his leg in 13 years old, and he could be regarded as a lucky one. Just look at the
Next picture. Little Mary Richards was caught up in a machine and 6 and 7-year-old orphans working alongside her witnessed the quote, both of her arms, legs, thighs, etc. excessively snapped, her head appeared dashed to pieces, her blood thrown about like water from a turd mop. I know it's badly and somewhat grossy, but I want you all to see the cruel fact. Don't know how you feel. I feel really bad for the girl and children who witness it. However, fortunately, with the emergence of socialism and the left-wing policies amidst the ways of government, protecting children was being paid much more attention by public. Karl Marx in Communist Manifesto discussed the falling of capitalism and classical liberalism in relation to how the poorest in society were taken advantage of by the richest. Family, we had a first law to protect the rights of children, which was a hope to end the dark childhood. However, how could those things change the later sociology and how those new theories have changed the world? Let's move on.
Thanks, Annie. That provided so many details. So now let's have Ziqi to make a conclusion about all this mentioned today.
Hi everyone. According to my classmate work, I think everyone has a different understanding about Industrial Revolution. For my part, I will more focus on the sociology series and impact about the Industrial Revolution on society. The impact about the Industrial Revolution on society can develop in the 3 parts: capitalism, modernization, and industrialization. First, let's little review what my classmate said. According to Sandon said, class debate and treatment about labor is poor at that time, and is also the Marx series. Jollins talked about the bourgeoisie, which linked to the Weber series that modernizations has increased efficient but simplified individual. Annie's talk about the women and the child labors we can analyze in the part of the Dogen series and also the Weber series that I taught before. Capitalism makes us rich, but it also makes us unhappy, and we can also analyze with the Engels theory, which is the Marx's best friend. He mentioned about the feminism at that time. I think it's a very surprising. I mentioned a lot of books before. After reading those books, I have a lot of questions. Although the welfare about labor is not good enough, like the Sandon said, working 14 hours, like the Annie said, woman worker child labor problem is very serious at that time. But it's no doubt that people's material life is getting better, so why they are less unhappy compared to the past? What changes take place in the people's mind? So let's move to the third step. God is dead, which is the near-that famous saying. Let's imagine about what's he feeling about his dead dad. Let's say that, God is dead, or more sadly, God is dead. I prefer to understand it as a sadly thing. We are not talking about a God like Jesus, his physical death. We are talking about religion are playing less and less important role on people's mind after the Industrial Revolution. And in that case, people will lose their principles and lose the shared values. When the rationalism race, people will become less and less influenced about the religions, and people will become more and more lonely, and the nervous emotion will happen in the whole society. In addition, people will have a more and more sharply argument and debate on one thing. Industrial Revolution didn't call the Industrial Revolution around the 1715. It's been summarized as with the socialist in the modern time. So in my view, why did we change another word to explain the revolution? More like a debate, I think, and it's more like a fight, and it's also a light between the ancient society and the modern society. Let's talk about economic. It's a line between the substance-based economy that the people will hunting and planting their own food, and the line between the capitalist-based economy, like the people will go to the factories. And for the main level, is the life between the king and religions play an important role in the old society, the line between the relations and the science takes place at modern time. and it's also a line between the control and organization in the old society, which means the king and the religion control your mind, your behaviors, your everything. But nowadays, more like unpredictable and changeable. We can have a different mind on the different things and influenced by the social medias and another new things by the developing technology. Industrial Revolution gives us a colorful world, but it also gives a lot of the nervous emotion and loneliness emotion. People will more independence, but have a less belonging on the whole society, and the more unpredictable and changeable world we may have. What have you think about Industrial Revolution? Do you think it's a bad thing or good thing? I think both didn't have an answer, and that is the end of our presentation.
Thank you so much, Ziqi. Oops, it is late now. It seems that it is time to end this time travel and go back to home. See you guys next time. Bye.